Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first stream of the EMEA Open Division Cup. This is Overwatch Contenders. I'm so excited to be bringing you this action alongside Jace. How excited are you for today's action?
I am so excited. We've got two great teams here, and then we've got potentially an absolute clash of the Titans later on. But let's not worry about for now. Let's get straight into it. So, Ultrism, first time on the cast, why don't you introduce us to our first team, Ad Friend?
I'm excited to see how these guys are going to go out in the rest of this tournament. Guys, this is the top 16 teams left in this winners bracket. We got lots of Overwatch for this weekend and next weekend. We do have the very interesting Ad Friend coming through here, as they're coming through as the 41st seed who've managed to win their way through this tournament so far, having taken out Altera Mythic, the 9th seed, and Altera Red Pandas on their way up to this position here. Quite interesting to see their players. We don't know exactly who's going to be starting out their roster. There have been a couple of roster switches in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, Ad Friend sort of throwing it to the wall, going to be a fun time for us, but we'll see. One thing I do want to highlight, though, is this team, Ad Friend, are clearly no joke. Yes, I think they're not the highest seed in the world. However, to take out a team that were highest seed of them, and then to take out a team, Altera Red Pandas, with very good synergy, both Altera Orgs, I know those guys. Personally, the Red Pandas, very well practiced, very well coordinated team. So honestly, impressive stuff from Ad Friend. So I'm looking for them to put a real competition to Fifth Dimension. Project W this game, who are going to be our opponents for them in this match.
Definitely, Ad Friend has come through and proven themselves capable of taking out very high seeds. And now it's just one step up from Altera Mythic, the 8th seeded Project W. And so far, Project W, having had a pretty easy run through it, the bye in the first round, and then the 57th seeded Nightshade, and then the 89th seeded Laze Miners. And so, they haven't really been tested, I think. And so it's going to be interesting to take on this dark horse who's coming up through the whole way. Project W, you got to see them a couple of weeks ago, didn't you? Or in Feb.
Yes, last time I casted EMEA, I got to cast Project W. It's, I believe, a very changed roster. One thing I'll have to confirm as soon as I can is whether it is the actual real Moose, the German off-tank formerly of Clockwork Vendetta, but some of the regulars are still there. Natlock's on the main support and Demon on the off-tank. He was very impressive last time in a narrow loss to Fifth Dimension. That was why their name was on my mind, as Project W and a Fifth Dimension clash last time I got to see Project W, and there's potential that we see Project W versus Fourth Dimension in our next game. But yeah, Project W bringing some new faces in SAR, Arca, Disclosure, and Edis. But they've got a core together of Natlox and Damon as well, and potentially some firepower with Contenders experience, Contenders winner in the Mighty Moose, the former Hog player, now turned main tank.
How much do you think that having that real resilience and a very experienced player is able to rally the team around them and be able to go? Because there's still a long way to go in this competition. I think that mental fortitude is going to have to last out for a team, and having someone to run ahead with that could be pivotal.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's so important, altruism. There are times where fights get tense, particularly in the first map always being controlled. 99 overtime fight. If you're not quite sure of ultimates, all it takes sometimes is a steady call, and particularly in this meta where cooldown tracking and the ability to understand your engage timings is so important. Just having that calm voice in the comm, just to say, okay, guys, we wait here. We have call. We go with EMP. They have no May wall. Let's play. Let's wait for our own. Sometimes that call can honestly decide a fight, and it can even decide a round. So having that high level experience just means that potentially, they're going to be a bit more composed in the lobby, and that can really edge out for them in the long run.
Oh, just 100%. That leadership just stabilizes the team. And also in that first fight, when it's 100% level at the beginning, but whoever comes out victorious in that first fight on a control point is at so much of an advantage that they're able to then leverage that. And having a person who's tracking the enemy ults, tracking your own ults, being able to make those calls allows that person to then tell their team, this is exactly how many ults we need to use in the next fight to win it. Don't expend anything more, and let's try and execute it with what we got, so that you get that sustainability throughout the whole match.
Control is, I think, more so a game of ultimate poker than anything else. There is a very, very set few fights. Winning that first neutral objective is so important. I really cannot stress that enough. And it's often a lot of people have actually criticized the game mode for it. They say that it's kind of broken, because if you win that first fight, you will build one or two ultimates, and teams opt to go for ultimates that are low cost. They go for Coalescence, they go for EMP, they go for Rhine-based comps with Shatter. Potentially, if the fight goes on long, they've got a Graviton Surge as well. And the natural snowball advantage that Overwatch gives you means that sometimes you can kind of carry on this train all the way into 99% just off the back of having ult advantage for 3 fights, kind of for free because he won that first neutral 0-0 one.
And I think it's up to a team to be able to adapt and really read their opponents quite quickly if they have any chance of coming back. We do have Project W finally joining in, and we see Demon being the last person to jump into that. And Demon is someone that you've seen before in the past.
Yes, also saw Natlox as well. Demon, very impressive on the off-tank in particular. He had some crazy plays. I remember on Blizzard World, they lost that fight to an even more impressive play from the fifth dimension off-tank, I believe his name eludes me. Apologies, I will correct that one for later. But Demon on the Diva. Honestly, the name matches up. Was a Demon. I believe he ate a Blizzard, he ate the High Noon from the McCree, and then he managed to peel his Baptiste against a Fire Strike as well. So he was absolutely everywhere with that defense matrix. Demon was so crazy on that Blizzard World map. And honestly, throughout that entire series, Chaos, I believe that was it. Yes, Chaos on the off tank. Very good player himself as well. So if Project W look to come out playing that Brawl again, expect Demon to be all over the kill feed, and expect the May of the enemy team, Add Friend, if they're running a Brawl, to have a not very fun time using the Q button.
Fantastic. And we do have Add Friend in the lobby. It's Matero, Will, Kiwi, Tim, Soaks, and Ghost going to be coming through for their side on the red team here. And we're going to be going into Busan as our first control point map. And Busan is fantastic, in my opinion, as the first place for a team to meet, because it's just got such variation in the big open spaces, the high ground control. And, you know, a lot of teams running Brawl, we were talking about it before stream, as their basic meta for a lot of this.
Yeah, Brawl is very standard, particularly on Mecha base. You can also run it on Downtown, and if you're a madman, you can run it on Sanctuary as well. But Busan in general, I think, is one. It almost gives us a little bit of a flavour of what the teams will opt to. We've seen Bull Sig on Sanctuary. That was very standard. I think that's probably one of the best maps in the game for Bull Sig because of the cyclical nature of the objective and the cover on the left and the right side. On Downtown, we have the Sombra with the ability to play around that mega health pack on the right. It's perfect for double bubble with those high grounds, allows your Winston to stage. And obviously, as I said before, on Mecha base, you just get to kind of run into them with the Reinhardt, and that's really fun, you know?
You know, like you say, it shows the flavor of a team. I think that there's so many viable comps that can work in any of these places. The teams get to play what they're comfortable on. They get to show and we go, you know what, maybe we're not super comfortable on a Wrecking Ball, so let's go something else. Or maybe you've got someone who's a very confident Ryan player, but they go, this isn't the time for it. Let's play something like a Wrecking Ball, a Sigma comp, a Dive comp into the backline. You know, Dive comp might come out into more of your escort maps or your hybrid maps or something like that, where they need to control the space a little bit better. But Busan is really just anything goes. Yeah. So let's see what you got.
Absolutely. And I think with anything goes, when a meta is open as this, it really lends itself to comfort picks. We even saw early hours of this morning for EU, we saw a team win the May Melee with no dedicated hitstand player. They played what they knew. They all bought into one system and they won the entire thing. In a very dominant fashion. So if there's ever a sign that you can kind of just play what you're good at. We saw some really weird comps from the Dallas Fuel yesterday. I think we saw May Sombra, Ryan Sig, Lucio Baptiste, which is a crazy comp. But it really is an indicator, and I hope that trickles down because teams don't have to hard abide by the meta anymore. I really think that gone are the days of just hard forcing this one comp that we see in Overwatch League.
You know, Overwatch was always a kind of like rock, paper, scissors game, but with infinite moving parts. And you could kind of make it work and the pieces click together a little bit before. Now it's about the idea of what your team comp is trying to do. And you're still playing that rock, paper, scissors. Oh, they're bunkering up. We need to get and close that distance and get on top of them. But the number of ways that you can do it, though, is now so much more diverse that it's difficult to counter against any of those.
Yeah, absolutely. Just so many heroes in the game that do so much, and it makes me sort of more excited for Overwatch 2 in the future, as we're going to be getting even more. But it looks like we'll be getting swaps any second now, as we're going to be starting on Mecha base. And unfortunately, let's see if any team discover the Reinhardt hero, as I don't think they are. We're going to be seeing Bull Sig from either time, so it's going to be a jostle for particularly Demon, Archer, and Natlox on this off angle to try and get this high ground that we see Kiwi kind of roll off there at the start of both people. Going to jump each other to start out the fight.
big difference between these two teams, of course, being the Zarya. We see Mateo going down very early into the fight. Arca just sitting on his high ground, doing work. Demon managing to push forward. Arca managing to also stay alive and keep that distance. And now it's a firing range from different directions as Demon pins them in that side corridor, pushes them back, and they should be able to take this first control point.
Yep, they're going to unlock it. So we really see the advantages of this composition come in for Project W here. Demon, along with his Ashe and his Mercy, is going to be allowed to stage on this high ground and just kind of walk at them with that shield that Sigma can put out. And honestly, from there, it's just free farm for Arca on this Ashe. Ashe going to get that damage boost, going to get that discourse from his pose as well, and just poke away and try and take as many heads as possible.
Very aggressive play coming out by the Rectable players as they try and trade it out. You see Mateo also putting in damage. They've been a couple of picks so far from Adfriend. They're managing to close this distance and get the plays. It's just the three left lone players from Project W who are now getting flanked. Tim cleaves through with the Zarya, and we do have a turnaround point. Adfriend going to be taking this one.
Oh, so 27% on the board for Project W, but Adfriend off the back of Tim being so charged up, he's going to net himself 80% of a Graviton Surge so early. So this could be really crucial. They've got that Transcendence in the back pocket for Goat as well. With this point control now, it's all going to be about Kiwi's engaged. Can he find the displacement for the Echo and the 12 with Madaclose to combo up with?
And that's going to be a big theme here for Project W. Not a lot of CC, not a lot of control for their players. It's going to be difficult to take a fight when they need to and where they need to. You see the bombs being dropped down, still just the turret going to be taken down. Project W has got a little bit more control of the point with their bombs. We see Saw looking for a flank around the side, just waiting for the timing from their team. We also see the Molten Core, here comes the roll through, and the pick from Arca has to open this chance up. We're going to see Adfriend now on the back foot. They've given up point control here to Project W. Tim still very high charge with this Graviton Surge. Could be looking to make a play. He's lost a couple of people, and so only just going to charge on, feed their life, and turn over the point. Got to 50% though.
Yeah, they did get 50%, so a very valiant haul, and they have Grav, they still have that Transcendence, and they elected not to use the Molten Core, so many ults coming available for Adfriend, but more importantly for Project W on the flip side, with that retake, once again, they have that angle. Damon now gone over to the D.Va, so less dominant with that Sigma shield, but Arca again, once he's got this beat, he's just going to be able to keep going to work, and particularly looking to pressure on that Torb, who's going to be trying to contest him with that turret.
This is a big problem for Tim, is just closing the distance, getting on top of them, getting close enough to use the Graviton Surge. Dives through to the front line, does manage to get out of the big Graviton Surge. It's going to be Saw in the back line, making sure there's no reinforcements, and now charges through, looking to turn around the pressure in this fight. So far, Project W coming out on top and are going to be able to hold this down.
They're going to hold it down there. It's 70% on the board for them with some nice quick clean-up stagger kills as well. They should expect to lose this next fight. They know that the ultimates, the double support ultimates from Soax and Ghost are going to be coming up, but if you're the side of Project W here, it's just about delaying that clock and get as close to 90%, 99% as possible and just take that final fight with a clear ult advantage.
They're going to be happy with the way that they're starting this fight, making sure to not lose any picks. They're going to have to just survive these bombs. They managed to get Kiwi on the way out as well, and so they've opened up the bank accounts, and now it's going to be the pressure from Project W. They wanted to get as close to 99%, but they're able to actually take this all the way into overtime. Transcendence is pushed out, and it's going to be able to allow the rest of Adfriend to push onto point, but they've got no one in real kill range so far. Arca now just sitting on the side. Just the tanks wanting to poke and prod in to contest the point. Arca still dueling it out, and so far the kills going both ways. Sarge is looking to push now. Zarya into the corner, manages to chase it down, is going to fall off, doesn't manage to come back, and so it is still trading out. The point has been flipped, so Adfriend going to be able to start ticking up some percentage, and it is going to be Project W just backing out. Yeah,
right at the 11th hour they managed to flip it off. Honestly, a nice group from Kiwi, I believe, knocked off a Demon there on the D.Va to try and secure that one, so almost Kiwi falling really in that fight as well, so he managed to come back really quickly. So it looks like Project W are going to go for a fast contest here with this bomb.
That's what you were talking about, get it as close to 99 as you can, because then you can force the last fight, and Arca doing a good job using that Bob to control the point. It's still ticking out, getting some reinforcements now. The D.Va and Trace in the back line with the Transcendence coming through to reinforce this. No one's going to die from Project W. They're going to be able to turn this around if there is no big plays coming out from Adfriend. They've tried to drop some bombs. In fact, those are the blue bombs. No, the red bombs on the right-hand side, but completely off the point. But Kiwi going to be the last left alive here to try and contest, and Project W in control for most of that round.
Yeah, so some interesting comps from both teams. I wasn't actually expecting to see ball on this map. Never mind the Torbjorn mirror that we saw from them, but it's interesting enough. Ball comps thrive on chaos and they thrive on the incorrect division of attention from the enemy team. And when you add a Torp turret to the mix, it's just something else that the enemy have to deal with. And sometimes that can be enough. We saw the Torp turret get almost insta-focused by the DPS of Arca and Will, so they did a good job to sort of burst those down whenever they came out. But even valuable seconds, even valuable bullets of that Viper gun, particularly from Arca, that he spent shooting at the top turret of Madatho was space and was time that Kiwi and Tim could really stage with Will to find and execute on the backline, and it happened and it worked so many times. But sticking on these same competitors, we're going to be going on to Sanctuary.
And we're going to see both teams again favoring the ball. We talked about how anything can work, and these teams are proving it right now as they're just trying to cause that chaos, cause themselves to both have some tick potential. Arca on the Ash, of course, for Project W, going to be having that job. Whereas now we got Will on that Echo going to be coming through to try and get some sticky bombs and good targets. And that's where the Torbs need to watch out. As Project W starts on the points, we do see an engagement. SARS just sitting in the corner there, even up against the wall, charges through now, going to create some more diversion. Still, Adfred can't really approach this point. They're putting missiles in from afar, with the different angles, and Kiwi goes down at the beginning of the fight, a consistent target. Adfred can have to back out.
We talked right at the start of the game, Ultras, about the ability, about the power of holding that first neutral fight, about how much value you get from winning this 0-0 on control, and I think it's actually more heavily accentuated with the Torp and because of these ball compositions. Now Kiwi has to roll through into the Ash that's going to be pocketed, an angle from the Torbjorn and the Discord orb as well, so there's so much damage, and when they have flatline pressure do Project W now, as look, Kiwi is just getting absolutely rolled to the pocket of that, she's going to roll away narrowly 1 HP with Discord applied to him.
You can see that alertness from Demon, just constantly aware of where the limits are and where they can chase, and not wanting to overextend to that, because that's what Project W is trying to do. They're just holding back, waiting for fights to come to them, and then just holding their positions rather than trying to chase too much. Arca now managing to again shut down Kiwi on the ball, and so Adfriend going to be at a disadvantage. Now is the opportunity for Project W to push forward, and they're doing it quickly. SAR is looking for that backline Zenyatta, but doesn't have to kill, just gets them out of the fight and keeps the possession in the side of Project W.
And there we go, and they hold with a wealth of ultimates as Arca. Good shot from the Ash there, the Viper straight to the chest of Madatho, going to send him back to the spawn. 60% on the board for them, and now with the retake potential here for Adfriend, they've got the Trank and they've got the Rally. Rally is going to be so important here. It's going to allow them to brawl and get in, and they really do need that armor just to help chunk through the amount of pressure, the amount of damage that's going to be coming in from this Project W tank.
They're playing with, against 6 ults though. Yeah. I mean, Project W has everything they could possibly want. They got to transfer themselves if they get caught out, and then they can just turn around and throw as many things as possible, or that they need to win this. We do see the Rally coming out early to try to keep everyone alive. Adfriend also having dropped that Molten Core. Now Will stuck in the backline, going to try and focus out the Bob, who's doing a lot of work between SAR and Edis, managing to take out the short combo. Will going to be poking out, but doesn't really have a lot of people behind. Decides to replicate out the Torbjorn, has to win this fight. It is in overtime, and so Will going to have to try something here. Doesn't really manage to get a lot in terms of the kills on the other Torbjorn. We see Kiwi back onto the point, has to fight into the Transcendence, but Project W has expended all of their ultimates. Tim still has that mech recall, that explosion now. Nope, gets shut down very quickly, and Project W
ready for battle. Attackers incoming in 30 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Stop the payload.
Being able to stay alive. Oh, he's going to be under a lot of pressure now. Has to roll towards the high ground. We also hear the whole hog on the point. Molten Core and Arco are going to be doing the work to stabilize for the rest of Project W. Now they're fighting into the backline. Tracer darting left and right, but the last one alive, and Adfriend still not able to make any real progress.
Demon all over the kill feed is Sar and Co are just going to be able to chill. They're just going to absolutely relax. And really allow themselves to dictate the tempo of this game. One thing that I mentioned at the start is Tim on this Roadhog. It really is, honestly, a coin flip in my mind. When you play this Roadhog, you provide essentially no peel for Kiwi, and we've seen him being punished by that. As Manito gets hit on his opposite to start the fight. Now, looks like they're going to be finally able to walk in with these ultimates.
So far, Adfriend has lost the one player at the beginning of the fight, though, and they're fighting into the Transcendence, meaning that Molten Core going to be doing very little to stabilize position. Tim, who had pushed forward aggressively, going to get taken off now, and the rest of Adfriend now going to start falling. They've dropped the mines to stop the reinforcements, and so it is going to be Sars going a little bit too far, maybe just wanting to stall out that payload, but now there's no front line left for Project W. Adfriend might be able to take this out. They've got Demon, but Demon's been anti-healed up, and so going to be trying to utilize that defense matrix, but ever closer draws the payload as Project W now has to try and push in. They're stuck on the other side of the bridge there. You see that 2.6 meters, in fact, 1 meter, less than a meter, in fact, just for Demon on the front line trying to stall this out. Tim going to go across to that Sigma and then now be able to put in a lot of damage mitigation front lines. And that's going to make it even harder for Project W to push in. They're still trying so valiantly, and Potatoes managed to build up to the Molten Core again, going to actually be able to control the space if they need to, but they have secured the payload at last.
They roll it in finally. It looked like it could have been penultimate or final fight for the side of Adfriend, and that would have been a very disappointing attack, but nonetheless they managed to cap it, and off the back of some really nice adjustments and some really nice play from the DPS for the side of Adfriend. I really like this Anna, and I really like this Sigma thing, particularly on this second point. He was able to kind of climb on this high ground if he needs it. He's going to get really pressured out here. No, but Kiwi finds this close, so that's no Discord now gone. And looks like Adfriend is just going to roll this through.
That was great play from Adfriend. They got the Sigma and the Anna on the high ground, and you know, it's a much more stable composition that you're talking about, and a great nice little bit of dive at the end here to trickle this out. The Mercy probably going to follow through. This Reflection, relentless here, trying to keep the pressure on, manages to get out of the HP. Now the Molten Core from Potato going to stabilize the points and try and secure them this last point here. Does manage to take out most of the proximity mines. Still Project W running that Transcendence, trying to keep everyone alive. Demon though, anti-healed up, means that he's going to go down, losing their life, and Ghost gets booped off the side. Project W in dire straits now. Adfriend finally looking like they're coming alive in this, trying to push forwards. Still Project W trying to put in pressure again. Arco being very prevalent here on that Ash. He's long distances uncontested, but there's very few people left alive for Project W to try and contest this. Ghost even manages to take out both of the supports. So Project W dwindling resources, trying valiantly, but you've got to give this fight to Adfriend.
Oh, I thought that Adfriend were going to leave here after going such a cold dip into the waters of Venice, but no, he came back and got a pick to end that up. So a really nice stabilization play from the side of Adfriend. Losing that Ana is so risky, so dangerous, so much sustain gone once that Egyptian grandma falls down. But nice play overall from Adfriend, as I said, to stabilize and really push that through, losing their most important piece and obviously being down in that modified side.
Now we see the ultimates coming out from Project W. They're deciding to put in the pressure, and RK even being able to duel out the traces because their backline is able to start putting damage towards the front line. And again, Adfriend tries for the dive. They're getting a couple of picks, but the rest of the team is still very healthy and in complete control here of the payload.
Yep, 2 minutes 10 left on the clock, so this time is going to be ticking down. Slowly it's going to be back to a full Fig mirror, and that lock should be, yep, there we go, going over to that Brigitte. So it's just about a game of angles here, ladies and gentlemen. How hard can the defensive side hit Damon and co-pressure the offhand, but Manifo gets a bit under his opposite number. Edith is gone.
And that's the sign that Adfriend needed to keep going. Matero dropping a huge molten core, even manages to isolate all Demon, and both of the tanks going to fall so quickly that Adfriend taking every advantage. If they can stall out a little bit here, making sure to not, of course, lose any picks themselves. Nadlock's going to go down at the end, and Rig would be a very useful person to help stall out this last fight. Project W effectively has one more chance to stop this. They only need to do it once with a minute and a half left.
Yeah, it should be potentially penultimate or even final fight. Damon no finds so many people that they can look to push on this tempo, going straight to the Ana again.
And a great attempt so far coming out. They've even gone Orisa now at Project W to try and pull this out, but everyone's being chewed down so fast. Kiwi putting massive damage in is going to give out their life, and it's up to the jewel of the Tourbillons. Please someone pull out the hammer. That would just be the best way to end this. Not going to be happening just yet, as Edith manages to stabilize this point. Huge push from Adfriend, but dropping even the Transcendence at the end. Maybe a little bit late, but great hold at the end for Project W.
Yeah, they make really nice swaps. Natlox and Saw going over to that Vaporis that just installed this Closures trance. Ooh, I really hope for him that doesn't end up being a punishing factor, as looks like Kiwi should be able to get the touch here with 34 seconds left. It's going to be just a pulse bomb, but close to that flux and that Tourbillon for Adfriend, and they really do need to extend this fight so Maratho and Kim can end it with those two ultimates.
You know, a pulse bomb when you're going against an Orisa and a Sigma is actually a decent target to hit. Trying instead for the supports in the backline, does manage to take out the Immortality field, and they've also cracked the turret, so a little bit of an opportunity for Adfriend, and they're going to look to push forward with the Sim falling quite low. The shield also not in a great position, and a great hold so far from Project W. Means that they're able to hold on to all of their resources, punishing this, and before we even get to overtime, Project W's won this match.
They have those two ultimates up. They were ready to go, but Edith said no, ladies and gentlemen. I'm still a bit shocked, to be honest, that there are Tourbillon, two of them in this lobby, much like London Butters. You don't see one and then two come along at the same time. It really is a shock to my colour caster heart that the Tourbillon is being played. Even more so, I should be reeling right now, but I'm surprisingly calm. It's getting so much value altruism. I'm not honestly quite sure how, just so much sightline, so much angle pressure from that turret and from those right clicks, as well as Edis primarily most likely in there to shred that ball that's going to be rolling through his backline. But he's finding some nice dinks onto the switches as well. I believe he found a really nice flick headshot onto Reflection to end that fight and really put the nail into the final coffin for any sort of full completion hopes for the side of Adfriend.
It really is. You know, when that Torb starts hitting away with that turret, with that rivet gun, he really becomes almost like a Hanzo if you low enough HP, and so you really can put in that offensive mid-range damage, those instant pick potentials, the area denial. Both these teams really favoring both of their Tourbillons. It's going to be interesting to see how Project W approaches this. They've always been the more passive team, more stay away from the fight, and I think they're going to really have a bit of a trouble getting into the backline, breaking into Adfriend, who's been trying to play that style the entire time anyway.
Yeah, Kiwi has been looking for the backline disclosure and Natlocks and hunting like a ravenous wolf. On this flip side here, though, this is going to be, I think, a test for Project W now. They're going to have to retake this sightline control. Once they get it, though, it should be an easy snowball into first point. So now they're going to be praying that Arcus can kind of hit with this fighter gun. Going to be giving so many resources onto him though, for that Ash to be able to really break over the fight.
It's a nice play from Kiwi to draw all that attention. That's the point of the ball. Oh, we see the Sigma go down straight away. So that's going to be a big opportunity for Project W to push forward, and they're not wasting any time. Everyone looking for these off angles, controlling these sight lines like you were talking about. And we do see Saar poking his head out from the top now, putting the damage in, and just always being threatening with that pile driver. Even manages to peel for the rest of his team. Arca being put under a lot of pressure, and Arca has been so important for their damage, and those shots from down range, burning out with the dynamite, manages to finally take down Soaks. So Reflection now pretty much going to be dwindling there, manages to get a nice sticky bomb onto the Mercy, so it gives their team a little bit of an opportunity to cancel this out, and Bandero coming through with the molten core is going to actually be able to take back this control completely.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to be stabilising with 2 minutes 47 left on the clock. I think for this defensive side, I actually do quite like the Torbjorn the more I really start to think about it. It's going to essentially relegate Reflection to checkmate ball duty, as all Reflection's going to have to do is just chase around Star, who's going to be playing Mario Kart for the entire map relentlessly. Look to go deep into the backline. The plus one for Arco, might on both supports of this eyebrow.
And that was huge. Arca's Bob actually charged through to not a great position up the stairway there. So it's great that Arca was able to come through and use them as a distraction to put in the damage. Now Eda's going to be dumping lots of molten core, clearing off a lot of the bombs. And Demon still charging forward. Has a great angle now on the Torb and manages to land the damage into the Tracer, taking care of that Torb turret. Means that anyone else from Adfriend walking forward has no secondary support as they trickle in and Project W walk out.
This fight was always going to be 1-1 Falcon found only 2 quick picks onto Soix. And just when you put resources into an Ash that can reward you like that, it's going to be clean, easy sailing. And now, once they get this forward push, looks like Demon, Natwatch, and Arca and the aforementioned and be able to jostle for this high down. This is really something that Project W wants. Demon going in with a flux, this could be big.
Demon is quite far ahead of his team, but they are able to reinforce so quickly, even with the Transcendence, to bail Demon out. They charge ahead, and it looked like he was alone there. And what a play, Saar coming through, even with the bombs and pile driver. Before they even get the payload around the corner, it's trickling through, and the bodies are just lying.
We talked about the sort of more defensive passive style from the side of Project W. For this fight, no one told Damon as he just kind of ran in there with a flux and killed 4 of them. It really do be like that's a brilliant play from Saar and Damon overall, just to really take the fight to them and really increase the tempo. When you've got ultimates, like the flux, it's absolutely something new.
Now again, we see the teams dumping the area control ultimates out of it. Mateto's going to be putting that multi core on the ground. It's doing work so far. Arco's putting the Bob in a nice position as well and has managed to move the Kiwi. Oh, Reflection also going to go down to the whole of the front line. The bomb comes through, the dynamite comes through, and Arca cleaning up. Now has the rest of the team trickling around to clean off the Sigma. And Project W clean up yet again.
Oh, it's so nasty. I feel so bad for Tim as a Sigma main myself. He really actually cannot play the video game. Ladies and gentlemen, it's something that I'm going to stress and I'll keep stressing. With 4 minutes 20 left on the clock, now Project W have so much time, so much space, and they could just honestly go for a big 6 if they need to try and get this final push, this final cap in, to take that 2-0 lead. As I said, Tim getting so pressured out, his Kiwi now going to be having to go on a backline, trying to really force it to the Spirit Mines as far as well.
And a definite target in mind. Does take out Disclosure, but where's the rest of his team? Yes, Kiwi, you made a play to get over the top, but there's no one else.
Nope, and he's yet rest up as well. Oh, it's so pain champ here. For Adfriend and Joe, Stoics and Joe's going to be able to sort of recontest here, especially with this man that's going to come in onto the ball, but it could just be rising on the wall here.
And now we see the gravitic flux come out. Demon going to get shut down, but it holds him in position long enough for the Bob to come out as well. Saar trickling back. And there's just wave after wave of damage coming in from Project W. They're able to cross every angle, and so far Adfriend doesn't know where to look as they come out, picking off one by one. Again, the poor Torbjorn trying, and it wasn't a full completion, and so Project W going to walk it over and take their second map.
There we go, 2W, I believe, going to be going over to match point. Again, fairly convincing fashion. They kind of rolled. And I just feel really bad for Tim because he kind of can't play the video game against their composition. He gets rocked, he gets loose-coated, he gets flux, he gets that damage boost onto the Ash as well. If his shield breaks for half a second, that's going to be 2 quick headshots from Archer, and it really is rough for the Sigma out here. And the reason that I'm directing our focus to Tim on that Sigma is it kind of is the core of that composition. Ball is a very in and out main tank. It's a very premeditated main tank, but it's very sort of cyclical in that way. You sort of need to be in and out. You are very recognizable, but it's all depending on the ball. What I'm trying to say is that ball brings inconsistency. So the reason you play the Sigma is so you have consistency, and they really do need Tim to walk forward so they can buy permanent space. But so far they're not getting that, and it's kind of all falling to bits here.
Oh, 100%. And once that shield has fallen, you've now got the shooting range. You don't have another shield or something like that, like a Reinhardt, that everyone can stay behind. And like you saw, Arca doing consistent damage on the Ashe. And you, like you said, you're putting resources into Arca to get that job done. And the team comp is working. You've got Demon who's able to set up plays like that. And the team from Project W just seems to be communicating very well. They're all on the same page. They're making the rotations and the peels that they need to stay alive. And it's going to be interesting as we go through to our third game and what could effectively be the last game if Project W takes this. They were the upper seeded coming into this, 8th seeded, and Adfriend. We saw them giving a couple of very high seeded teams a run for their money, Altera Mythic being the last one that they took out, but maybe this is just one step too far.
This could be, and to be honest, I don't think there's any shame. Project W right now are back with a vengeance. They are flowing with confidence. I think we saw that, as I mentioned, the flux play from Damon. What an absolute mad lad, just kind of running into them with that Q button, lifting them all up in the air and rolling through with. But one thing as well is, as I said, like it could seem mad, but who was there? It was Saw. Immediately after that flux came down, he was there with the minefield. So it's coordinated madness from the side of Project W. They're full forward with competences. Will and Void are going to be in here. So out goes the main tank of Kiwi as we're going to be moving over to Kings Row potentially for the final map. Ballsig, again, it's not bad on Kings Row first. I think it's horrible on Streets, not too bad on that third point. And the real question I'm asking Ultrism is, will either team discover the Reinhardt hero?
You know, I feel like Kings Row has been meta and one of the most played maps for every region forever kind of thing. And it's such a well-known map that Reinhardt has had such a stabilizing presence in it forever. You know, he's such a core hero when it comes to Kings Row that I feel like if there was ever a time that you were going to bring out a Reinhardt, do it now. Adfriend, they looked strong when they got more stabilizing compositions, when they started bringing out something like the Anna and the Sigma. They were able to make good progress with that. Please bring out the Reinhardt and just play something that's well-known and that you know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's very standard, and I think the idea of defecting to Brawl is something that a lot of teams default to, and I think it's a very standard ideology. One thing that I've not seen so far is Adfriend try and counter-comp Project W, and they should know what the counter-comp is. Against this Ballsig, you can play Winston, you can play Hog Zarya, but more importantly, you want to be playing something like a Sombra. Perhaps it isn't in the hero pool. But interestingly enough, though, I think one of the good counters to a Sombra is the Torbjorn. Potentially that wards it off itself and they don't elect to go over to it. But something that I thought that see maybe Sombra Kree with a kind of rush comp, or even Sombra Tracer, Winston Diva, Lucio Moira is something that has historically worked very well in the past against these board compositions. And I mentioned it last map about just him being unable to play the game on the Sigma. You effectively do the same thing with those two dive tanks and that Sombra. You pressure out, you run onto the Sigma, you hack him, you hack the ball as well. If you land a hack, if you land that big high value cooldown onto either of those tanks, they are effectively sent back to spawn almost immediately as your damage, as their lack of mobility, their lack of self-sustain, without those cooldowns, without the rest of the team being able to peel for them. It's just too much. But looks like for the defense here, it's going to be all reliable for Demon and Co. And on this attack side, it's double shield. So Tim on this Arista here going to allow a bit more of a healthy space. They're going to be taking this a bit more slowly. And looks like they can build up towards that first ultimate. I like this swap from Roldo going over to this Echo. It's going to be so much damage. They like to focus in the back to this right place, particularly if Soach is able to get window early.
I like this double shield meta coming out here from Adfriend. They realize that they just need to. They've got so many angles of attack that they either need to pressure those angles with that dive bomb that you were talking about, or they need to try and just fortify their current position. And they've done so well so far. We still see the Torb and the Ashe holding on this high ground. And they're going to be able to put damage in from a distance. But so far, Adfriend has walked onto the point. They're very content to just sit now behind their shields. They've got that immortality field. but they're slowly losing a lot of position. The rest of Adfriend is going to be cleaved apart. Project W collapse upon them, and this is the beauty of them being able to stay away from the fights and just rain damages. Eventually, they're going to shoot through all the shields.
Yeah, the high ground control is so important here for the defense. It's almost a bait. I think Project W are absolutely daring their opponents to walk onto the point and say, go to point, we dare you. We've got this angle, we've got a tourbillon in window, we've got a damage boosted Ash, we've got a Sigma that can approach as well, and we've got a ball that can displace you if we decide that we don't like your shield. So it really is a tug of war between this ability to sustain on the objective versus that idea of displacing and really spamming them down as they go to it. It's going to be a mercy spot for Soex and Joseph over the window charge, but I think they gain a lot in the ability to pocket this echo as well. It really is on him to clear out the high ground.
Oh, 100%. Will has a good job of finding the weakness in the position, not letting them control the space, not letting them run away, get a pick on the lone heroes who are poking from each of the doors. Bunches of big bombs could do well. Saw, though, doing such a good job, like you say, being able to displace the opponents in the back line and just controlling where and when they can stand. And that's the weakness of an Orisa comp, is that dropping mines on the inside, going to be trying to corral these two in here. This should be interesting. Oh, it just opens up the space for the rest of the team to walk forward.
Okay.
And invest the Transcendence.
Yeah, so they're going to scare the Trump, sort of just to force them away. With 1 minute 46 left on the clock, they do need to go, and they kind of need to go fast, but it is absolutely crucial that they don't rush it. Will has copy here. Ghost has got this all-important window to be able to blow someone up in half a second. I really want to see them rotate through this right-side high ground, through this hotel and through cinema, and kind of just take it as this off angle. This low ground plays almost perfectly into the copy as Will going over to send the off and getting into the pop. Oh no, Will. Oh no.
Okay, that is the first time I've ever seen someone copy a Zenyatta in a competitive game. Well, like a tournament game. So maybe not the next level strats that they needed, and with a minute left, they are going to have time at least to reset here, but they're going to be coming back in, having wasted some ultimates and up against a lot on the other side.
60 seconds.
Yeah, and Star's ultimate is going to be online very quickly in this closure, potentially going to get a damage boost if he needs that Transcendence as well. Could be very messy. This last fight is going to be ultimate warfare. This potentially could be something that breaks the Geneva Convention with the amount of Q presses, and never mind, Archer just says, I win, and he kills the Baptiste.
Man, that's some aim training right there as he beautifully floats that arc through the air. That was nice play from Archer, just good mechanical skills that he backed up. And now they managed to pick off the Echo as well. Adfriend just trickling death before they even start these fights. And so and comfortably just sit in this little corridor, very brave against the high concentrated damage. But they open up positions in the backline. Saw again going to be working there. And it's just these two tanks on the high ground being avoided by the rest of Project W.
It's going to be full-gun ultimates on either side, very sticky. It's a floor, very hot as well as Void. Gets the hit once he needed with that push. They need to touch the point, Damon. Let's see if he has other ideas. Both these tanks now. Wow. They fall so low and so many.
That was beautiful play by Demon. He's got such good aerial control when it comes to that. He's able to float up and over the building, come down on top of them, and where Adfriend's tanks tried to hold position and make some space available for the team to rejoin them, there just never was any reinforcement. They were standing there alone.
No siree, and it was almost clinical. It was surgery-esque the way that they were dissected there, that attack side, and just being able to sit in those windows with that damage boosted Ash, as I've said a million times, it's just so freeload for Project W, and I'm really not quite sure what Adfriend can do here on this defense. I think they've given it a valiant effort, but there is no shame in what I think is just a big mechanical skill difference, and it's unfortunate to say, and it can be quite brutal to say. Perhaps there's a little gap in macro as well, as the ultimate cycling was very clean from that defensive hold there, but it's just when you're able to generate so much value mechanically and find so many picks, win the 1v1s, it just makes the game so much easier, and ultimates almost become a second thought.
And that's the point of Overwatch. is that
Yeah.
there are so many ways you can win a fight. Do you just outplay your opponents? Do you bait out their cooldowns? Do you then re-engage? Do you just actually last through everything with massive tanks and shields and stuff like that? And the timing, the cyclical nature that you're talking about on a Hamilton. Project W just seems to have all those pieces working really nicely together, and Adfriend is really on their last legs now. They were full held here on King's Row, and so Project W effectively one fight away from taking this match and being able to go through to the next round. I think they're going to be very happy for it. And again, going for some long-range damage, Arco are going to be very happy to put in pressure, and as you see them just slowly spreading out, they know where their angles are. Sar setting up to knock them off the high ground, is going to roll through, is going to knock them off the high ground, turns around, comes back through, and now just has the last of the immortality field, and there really is nothing Adfriend can do when there's such control from Project W to clean off here.
He gets the hammer kill onto Will to add the insult to him, really rubbing salt into the wounds.
Double.
And his goodbye into the lower bracket. You go, GG, well played. How rehearsed, how practiced was that coordination from Project W? Sar goes off the high ground and immediately it's a headshot volley from Disclosure and it's a body shot from the damage boosted Ash. It was so practiced, so well coordinated, and as I said, they got absolutely dissected. And that one's funny in the game, that's something you see every now and again. He's going to be happy with that one. Is Mercy not quite the highlight hero? Saw a meme yesterday of a Mercy montage. It was just super jump reses, not something that is very common, not very flashy hero in general, but 4.4k healing in 5 minutes is honestly quite reliable, and it's quite impressive as well, considering I think the lack of damage that they kind of took with that high ground controller. That's going to be 3-0 for Project W. They're going to move on to face the winners of Fourth Dimension versus. Why does the other name elude me?
Vulpine Dynamos.
Vulpine Dynamos, yes. I wonder if we have a result of that one. Yes. So word in the production is that we don't have an update on that one. We do expect to see. No, not surprising yet, as this was almost a speed run. Open division any percent for the side of Project W as they look to come out with force here, very revitalized after getting knocked out around this stage last time. So very impressive. Let's see who they're going to be matching up into. Is going to hand it over to Ultras, and for any closing thoughts, is going to possibly be taking a short break as we look to get into the next map, the next series.
Yeah, Project W showing why they're coming in as the 8th seed. Adfriend, a valiant effort so far, who've managed to push through from those different games to get to this point. Valiant effort, but not coming through against Project W. A very clinical lineup, like you say. Very good leadership. You could see it in their ultimate cycling. And I'm excited to see them in the future. Guys, we will be right back after this. We do have another game starting at about 1:30 if you are keen to jump into that. Otherwise, go join on Stream A. I'm sure they're still busy with their action. And big shout out to production so far, doing an amazing job. And we hope you guys are enjoying. We'll see you just after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We've got our second game of the day here on the second stream. Here it is Regen versus Fifth Dimension. I'm Altruism, and joining me here for this action in the Open Division Cup for the EMEA region is Jace. How you doing, my friend?
Hello, not too bad. How are you? Ready to go?
I'm doing very well. I'm excited about this. I must admit that first game of Overwatch that we got to see was great and a little bit one-sided. This is going to be a much closer game here between these two teams.
We have got two very good, oh my. Let me remember how to talk 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. We have two very high-seeded, well-organized, well-formed, and honestly quite good teams. We've got Regen versus Fifth Dimension.
You know, it is the top 8 teams here. We've got within the top 5 seeded teams from this tournament. Fifth Dimension coming in as our 4th seed, going to be taking on Regen, who's our 5th seed. So basically the closest clash that we've seen so far on stream here today. And let's hope it translates like that into the Overwatch that we're going to see. Of course, our first team with Regen is going to be Play Hard, Caillou, Wicked, Yelmo, Adnar, and Apples.
Yeah, and they've just come off the back of a win against Oztec Warriors 3-1. Some names I recognise here. Yelmo and Apples, I believe, play in a friendly sort of a low GM league. Helmer Drake, I've seen him in ranked as well. So they have some recognisable names. Play Hard, I think, has made a splash in OD before as well. Karama also seen there and about. Not quite sure how long together this roster has been or how long together they've sort of been as a unit. But clearly getting a comfortable win against Oztec Warriors shows that they are a driving force. On the flip side, it's going to be a team that I've casted many a time, particularly in the UK scene. It is going to be Fifth Dimension.
Now, Fifth Dimension is a team that has come in as the academy team to our top seed, who's currently playing on the first stream. That's going to be Fourth Dimension. So this is the academy side. These guys are known for taking their Overwatch a little less seriously and having fun with it, but certainly potent players. That is going to be Killer, Hydro, Julo, Chaos, Sobek, and ILP24.
Yeah, so anyone that has been in the UK sort of tier 4 scene, almost probably sort of higher end of tier 3, will recognise the names Chaos and Sobek. Those guys have been playing in county UK Overwatch for a while. They've built up some synergy together. They do love their memes. They do love their trolling. They one would say that they partake in a minuscule amount of tomfoolery. But when it comes to game time, though, particularly Chaos on that Zarya has been absolutely lethal in the past. We saw last time out, actually, this roster play against Project W, who we casted in the previous game, and they went toe-to-toe, sort of tooth and nail all the way to a map 5, and it was ultimately Chaos's Zarya that came out on a Watchpoint Gibraltar to really swing the series in his team's favour. So it's going to be a really interesting game. We're going to be starting on Oasis, Control yet again. As we said, all about that first neutral fight. I am looking forward to this one.
Now, we just saw team compositions that were nothing like what we expected. A lot more prevalent of, weirdly enough, the Torb, and then, of course, the Wrecking Ball. And when it comes to Oasis, I mean, Wrecking Ball with that big central pillar in the center and the high ground control, the importance of that high ground control, it really does set it up for more of these sort of off-brand compositions that we might be coming to see.
Yeah, and I think it's something that, as we said, definitely surprised us. I wasn't expecting to see Bullsig, never mind the Torb mirror. However, this is Open Division and anything goes, ladies and gentlemen. Not quite sure 5D have played the Bullsig in the past, but that was when it was more prevalent. Maybe they'll flip over to the double bubble. On the flip side, Regen, I believe they were playing a lot of particularly Echo comps, Bull Diva Echo comps. They played a bit of Winston as well, who managed to catch their Hanamura full hold against the Oztec Warriors on the A stream earlier. So it's going to be interesting to see how they match up. Yelmo, I know for a fact, is a fan of the Zarya, and Apples, again, on the flip side as well. He's a big Ana player himself. So
I think it now just comes down to the familiarity of a team with their comp. You don't have to run the Sigma Ball. If you've got your own players that know their own heroes, then you can run it. We are going to start here in the center. So nice place for a Ball Sig to come here. Should be interesting. We are going to go straight to a pause, of course, as we just give these teams a little bit more time. All right, so your prediction for these two teams, level in their seedings, what sort of score line are you predicting for them?
This is going to be a difficult one, and I think, to be honest, I'm going to crop out Altruism. I'm going to make my bet after I see the first fight. I think the first fight can also be very indicative. Looks like, though, with 20 seconds left, that we're going to be going over to Who knows here? Looks like on the red side here for Fifth Dimension, are going to be locking mostly a Brawl composition. So it'll be really interesting. We're going to be playing essentially a Reinhardt comp without the Reinhardt as Julo goes over to this Winston. But on the reverse side for Regen EU, it is going to be the Ball Divas as competition we saw before. We saw in the previous game. It's all going to be about this high ground control. Fifth Dimension are going to look to rotate onto this point. It's about Wicked and Caillou to really displace and disposition, and more importantly, get these early picks.
You know, positioning is going to be so important for both these teams. Someone like Playhard obviously going to want to be a little bit more static. You've got Adnan to reinforce that position, whereas Fifth Dimension going to be looking to Hydro and Chaos to be able to take position and hold them quite nicely with that immortality field on top of it as well. So just a little bit of trying to find out what your opponents have, what sort of strengths they've got in the beginning of the fight. A nice dynamite comes in over the top though to set it up, but quickly healed up. And so far, it is going to be Fifth Dimension sitting on this point. Still, they've got enough trickles region, but they're able to come through. A nice rollout from Wicked and manages to also get the slam on top of that, so it opens up a nice opportunity for them to try and get some picks, but there's nothing coming out just yet. Caillou also poking from the sides, looking to whittle it down, but so far there's sustain coming out from Fifth Dimension. Able to set some stuff up, and now Hydro going to be able to get the freeze on the ball, also gets the wall up. That's going to be the first pick. Wicked going to be able to take the side. Apples from the side putting in damage, but nearly cost them with their own life. Sobek now going to be taking damage from the high ground, and still it stalls out between these two teams here on the first fight.
Yeah, they're still going to be stalling out. This Maida are going to help clean up really quickly. That falls down on that bridge. They do have high ground control, so Playhard managed to build himself above in that first neutral fight. He's just going to go for it straight away. Get the beat. But Caillou didn't respond. This is getting crazy real fast.
Still, this point has not been captured. It is looking like Fifth Dimension having a lot of sustain on this point, now starting to be able to put in more damage. This Reinhardt's caught out though. Caillou constantly a presence on the outside, has to dodge the Blizzard, and the Blizzard is still going to catch enough. Wicked going to go down. Caillou managing to finally finish off that Reinhardt that they were looking for earlier. Hydro not managing to reload in time to get that pick, and Caillou still causing such havoc, has built up to that pulse bomb. Going to be looking to sit and swipe off and get a couple of key picks to turn the momentum as the reinforcements start coming back in, and yet we still don't have a point controller.
And they still there. Chaos just manages to get back into mech, do a little bit of chip damage with that remake though. Wicked gets Sobek, but it looks like now all the Brawl side, this big stack is together with no kill people, so that's no lap.
See the self-destruct coming out, doesn't manage to get anyone. Caillou and Yelmo now managing to crack apart. Caillou again doing such amazing work, has not died, constant presence here, and finally Regen able to turn it into their points.
It looks like the flip should be the S key. Apple is going to commit that transcendence. And let's take a breath, ladies and gentlemen. We talked about the ult advantage of the first fight and how snowbally that is, but every ult in the game was used there, I think. There were so many committed, but when the dust settles finally, it's going to be 20% on the board and ticking for Regen EU, and they're going to have this rally, this all-important rally. But again, it's a window for Milky that we saw come out early. Hopefully he's going to try and use that to dislodge these tanks of this 4D on this high ground.
Control behind him comes out, does manage to find out kill, and the double fire strike kill manages to turn this all the way of Fifth Dimension. They're going to be looking for a very happy point tune up now. Hydra going to look for the last couple of kills, and Fifth Dimension take that cleanly.
And they take it cleanly. This ball's going to be stalling out, however, going into this type room, probably not going to be ideal. Hydro made the swap over to the Mei somewhere in the midst of the Chaos, off the Mei to the Tracer, going to reward himself a pulse bomb for just shooting at Wicked. Applied, LP now also going to be going over to the Morris. So it's a very, very stacky composition for the side of Fifth Dimension. Hydro going to be off on these offhand, looking for maybe a one click on the ball. Great coming out rally in response. Oh, that's 2 months off from Julo though.
Fifth Dimension's pushed up very far, but they've lost 2 of them, and now in a dangerous position. Killer also going to fall, and it seems like Regen has managed to re-secure the point. They can now push forwards and recapture it. Fifth Dimension have only got up to 30%, but losing an ounce, not even with the ultimates, just getting picked after pick.
They get kind of torn apart here, but perhaps it was, you know, kind of falling on their own sword there. They went super aggressive. Adnar popped the rally. Yes, Julo got the slam, but Yema was there to cover the defense matrix, eat that pulse bomb that came down from Hydro, and I think, honestly, they kind of overplayed it a bit. The broad composition should just be fine to take space and sustain up. They pushed, they wanted more, and they got punished for it. Hydro, though, going over, I talked about this last map, the counter to this broad composition is just some retreat, in my opinion. So that's the thing that they share the same line of thought as Hydro here. going to be going for it, but Gordon from Chaos as it falls off the body of LP in that fade.
That was an incredible heads-up team play to come out what could have been a very dangerous situation. Their job's not done yet. The hack comes out on the bob, which is going to shut that down for a long amount of time. Good heads-up play. Not just there to counter out the ball, but still very useful. Going to have to come back into the fight now as the ball looks for the rollout. The Transcendence has been the signal to go forward. The High Noon also going to be able to there turn around some pressure. Caillou just having to hide out from this bomb is going to be able to kill the Baby Diva. And Fifth Dimension has done all the work to get onto this point, even through that early Transcendence coming out from Regen. Now it's time to clean up the kills, and in overtime, they're going to have a little bit of breathing room.
There we go, and finally, but it is an expensive fight for them. They're going to be not close to that EMP, and from here it was potentially penultimate fight. They need to be absolutely perfect from now on, but Killer had enough. Now he's got the high ground with this McCree. He's just going to be able to fire away, and he's going to get even better for the Sheriff on the Oasis City Center. He's got all this space, all this control to be able to sort of pin back inside of Regen.
Oh, an early commit off that high ground from Fifth Dimension, and they made it work. They've gotten the Ash in the beginning of this. Wicked's going to slam up Fifth Dimension and hold them in place. Yelmo going to be hacked up, not going to be able to get off that EMP. Runs straight into the car to die. Quickly try and reinforce into this fight as the rest of Regen have to try and run for the hills.
Yeah, there is a window here though for the recontest. They've got the bomb, they've got both tank ultimates actually, and they've got this pulse as well, so the contestants there 4 days, and they had to go quick, but now, they've staggered, now they've taken a little bit more potion than probably necessary. They've got this EMP, and already they've got to deal with this pulse bomb. A Killer scores to the stick from Caillou.
Both the DPS going down straight away. Caillou, though, going to fall straight afterwards. And that means Regen has to now run backwards, trying to turn the point. The bomb over the top doesn't manage to get anyone, and now we see Regen having reinforced the point there. Wicked having bombs down there. The EMP is going to come through to set it off. Fifth Dimension looking to retake this point, and they're going to be able to even get the hack up on the Diva, secure the point, and Fifth Dimension at the verge.
A very, very impressive hold. This puts them on a 1-0. They strike first, they strike hard, and they send it to map point, as we're going to be getting into, I wonder what map, University. Oh, this is so perfect for that rushed composition. They just played it, now they're going to be forcing Regen EU to be going over to this Ryan Diva composition. It looks like they are, but I think that's almost perfect. It is exactly what you want if you are the side of Fifth Dimension. They win on a less rushy map, and they go over to one of the best rush maps in the game. Hydra are going to be going over to this May, so they're going to be able to take this right side room control and hopefully look for an early wall onto that Reinhardt. But defected to the brawl, I'm glad to see Reinhardt finally in the EU, as it's the hero we are known for in the region. And yeah, very standard brawl comps from both sides, nothing special here.
I mean, you could see them absolutely mirroring each other's comps. They know this, they know the strategy behind it. A great May wall comes out. Straight away, Caillou finding the pick into this. Going to be able to peel back on the Diva as well. And so Regen pushing onto the point now, have all the control, can start looking for some extra kills, and this is going to be a very early lead for them.
Yelmo getting the nice off angle though, and they just rushed with the May wall. Julo, they may need to check the PC. I think he was AFK there. Not quite sure what happened. He was not ready for the rush that came in. Adnor up to the speed immediately, and the rest of the team just went in with it. Really dominant, aggressive play, and the first fight on control, as we said, they've been rewarded for this aggression with the window. So now Fifth Dimension got a walk into the Apple's amplification basement.
They can use that wall very nicely to get into a good position. Going to be dropping window straight through the center there. And here we go. That's the rest of the team running backwards into the May wall. The Immortality Field is able to keep the rest of Regen alive. And now it's their turn for the May wall to cause some havoc, being able to turn this place around. A poor McCree left, taken out of the air there. The Fifth Dimension not going to be able to find a percentage yet.
No siree. This is a fight that they were always going to win. Regen EU, just that window was the only ultimate available in the entire lobby, and play hard, put 1 or 2 bullets straight through the chest of Hydra with that double damage. No siree, back to spawn, off you go. Thanks for coming, see you later. But now it looks like they've got some ultimates of their own. Fifth Dimension, they're going to have a reverse window with the high news as well. Oh, chaos!
Oh, the blizzard!
Beautifully.
The huge Blizzard Eat means that they're not trapped in this little side room, and it's very well picked up. Hydro going to be looking to now turn this around. The High Noon's come out. Julo's got an Earth Shatter as well. Just to skip past the Rhine Wall. As soon as he gets out of this one, now going to find it. Looking for it. No, just decides to swing with the hammer. We're going to see Yemo now trying to get back. Hydro picking off the Baptiste in the back. Long execution kill. Bomb over the top. Doesn't manage to find anything. Secures a little bit of position though. And Fifth Dimension able to push through.
Yeah, and a lot of ultimates drained out from both sides, but 81% on the board, not too bad. However, that last fight was just all about chaos on Sobek. Sobek landed deep perfectly timed 6-man beat to keep his entire team alive, and of course, Chaos once again popping off. Saw him last time out on this Diva, always looks impressive on that roll and gets the all-important heat on that Blizzard. However, Caillou though, let's see if he's ready for round 2. Nope, he go peeks the window and gets one tap by Killer.
And that, what a sign to go forward now as they charge forward. Killer trying to get some set space with that ultimate, but doesn't get anything. Gets a nice pick here, but the rest of Fifth Dimension going to be able to run out of this. It's going to be up to Regent to now put a little bit of pressure there. Are going straight into the Earth Shatter, and so Julo going from the side. The wall is up, and it simultaneously keeps out the Reinhardt and shuts off the McCree ultimate. Blizzard's going to cause some problems. Julo managing to charge backwards out of it. Has left some members behind of this team. The bomb over the top takes out Play Hard, and this is going to be the opportunity for Fifth Dimension to push forward. They were running behind the Rhine Wall. We've also got Chaos charging forward on the Diva, not wanting to overextend, but we managed to keep control of the point.
Oh, I think they hold it there. It's kind of off the bomb of Chaos to seal the deal. They put it between the McCree and the Reinhardt, so the Reinhardt has to turn his shield, and they turn his shield. He gets 3 shots from the Peacekeeper from Killer, who's been all over the kill feed himself. This McCree been so impressive. It's an early window though from Ilky that let's see if they can take advantage of that, as these walls are going to fall down any second now.
And I think that was the point of it. It was just to bait out those walls. It's such an important skill that you can't afford to be caught behind it. They buy themselves some time on this point. Oh, they get the wall up. They manage to trap the May. The Reinhardt's coming in over the top. They've tried to get the counter wall out as well. Immortality field goes out and the beats comes through. Fifth Dimension going to be running through with this, managing to come through. They've got all the sustain in the world, and now they can just cleave through, recklessly throwing their bodies at the side of Regen, who fall one after each other.
And it's going to be 99. Do they get the touch? They finally do. Ilky gets the back disc there, but looks like this is going to be falling down any second. It is map 1, Fifth Dimension, with some very, very clean engage and re-engage timings. The win conditions for Fifth Dimension there were borderline perfect. As a macro coach myself, and as someone that is very into the macro and the way the game is played in a cooldown-related sense, in a cooldown manner, borderline perfect, I'd say, from Fifth Dimension. The beats absolutely on point from Sobek. The windows nice and early from Ilky. The bombs from Chaos used to create space, and when needed, he's all over on the off angles as well. Manages to even grab himself a Blizzardy. And Julo was just W-keying it with absolute tempo, and if needed as well, Killer also on this McCree just lacing the kill feed with that Peacekeeper. So it's going to be a really tough, hard task for Regen EU to fight back, because I don't think this Brawl Mirror is going to be close, Ultraism.
No. It's about tempo control, like you were talking about. Fifth Dimension had that. When they were in trouble, when they had a May wall behind them, they maybe put up a May wall of their own just to give themselves a little bit more security. They threw down their immortality fields exactly when they were getting pressured. They were able to use beats timings and amplification of speed and healing exactly when it was needed, and move forward, flow with the battle in such a beautiful way. It looked very close on the first map. Regen took that very handily, and Fifth Dimension had to come back, especially with that incredibly long, drawn-out first fight.
Yeah.
These two teams are able to read each other well, but Fifth Dimension just seemed to learn how their opponents worked and then work against it, especially when you mirror the compositions like that.
Yeah, and I think the mirror composition was almost a doomed sign for Regen EU, as considering how well that rush played. There was opportunities to win there. Let's not just sign this game off 4-0, 3-0 quite just yet. Particularly that was a really, really long stall for Regen EU on that board composition. They were able to drag that fight so much as well. And Caillou on the Trace as well managed to find so many picks individually. He was all over the kill feed on that Tracer. And now as we're going over to Watchpoint Gibraltar, there's more time. This is more room, more space for this dive composition from Regen EU to really flourish. However, I mentioned it last time. I mentioned it right at the start of the lobby. These dives, 5D, are no slouch on Watchpoint Gibraltar. This could be double bubble, and in which case, expect to see Chaos on 100 energy and kind of just 1v10 the entire lobby.
I love those sort of plays. Zarya is such a powerful hero if played right. And, you know, you often see the skills and the recognition given to the very flashy plays, the McCrees who can hit 6 headshots in a row, or the Genjis who can slice through an enemy team. But a good charge Zarya who can manage their bubbles and manage their energy and just walk at their opposition.
Yes.
Those are just as technically good heroes and players as we go into this. And so both these teams have a lot to play for here.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we're going to bring it up just to backtrack onto that point about the Zarya. The Zarya bubbles in this comp are so important because you really need it on your Winston to stage. D.Va cannot go with you, she cannot dive with you in that same sense. And the way that you need to stage as Winston, you have to walk up with that Ana pocket. And then once you're in, you need that Zarya bubble to be able to stay and to be able to essentially just get value. So landing that perfect Zarya bubble into your own bubble, into losing your armor, into jumping out is very standard double bubble Winston rotation that we will see on the defensive side. This attack composition, not quite sure what's going to happen. It could be that Julo Chaos are going to go for a Halt hook off this top left high ground, or they could actually just stick with this composition.
Well, there goes the Halt and hook combo. Doesn't find anything. They retreat straight back out. Great call from you. And then instead go for the Symmetra to TP across to the other side here. Killer now trying to get up a good position. Hydra going to be looking for anyone who could be contesting on the point. Nice anti-heal grenade, and so far Regen just staying quite far back, looking to find their kill area when they can surround their opponents. Caillou gets a nice pick in the beginning of this. The Ashe going down means that there's no one to pressure onto the high ground. No one wants to dive in there without some extra follow-up covering shots to take onto them. And so staggers out for a bit. Playhard going to be able to put damage. Yeah, and the double kill comes through. Both the supports falling at the beginning. And now it's up to Caillou to trade it out at the bottom and clean away the last remnants on this payload.
Yeah, it might have looked potentially int from Fifth Dimension to try and go for this blue box high ground, but they really need it. And right now, they're just going to be playing for Nano. OP 31% compared to 45 from Apple. So for both teams, it really is a race for that Nano, because once you get it, you can apply it onto the Winston, and from there, it's hard engage and it's go button timers. Look how aggressively Julo is. He's really trying to take blue box off them.
And that's a good play from them. The rest of Regen had the resources to stick on that high ground, but they're aware of the payload going in underneath and they can't stay there forever, so they've retreated it back to the second high ground. And now they've got an opportunity. Julo going very aggressive. He's actually keeping a lot of damage in here. Some pressure coming through means that he can sit here for as long as he wants. Got to jump at any stage. Hydra on the other side doing work to fight around in the server room. Has to get out now, running out of blinks. Could be chased down quite quickly. Killer has gone to the Widowmaker now, trying to look for long range damage. The Nano Boost comes out onto Winston. It's going to be Wicked charging through the front line. Hydra going to pick up the counter kill, and Hydra, we don't see Wicked getting too much out of that, but creates a little bit of time and space.
Play hard gets the Widow though, so that's going to be a lot of sightline pressure. Release Julo asleep. I think that would have put onto the shield, I believe. This just the last second Wicked on this Primal Rage, however, it's all like they've managed to funnel themselves to the room and how are they still alive?
How is Wicked getting out of this? With down to single-digit HP, so Chaos now going to ignore the Winston and run straight through it. The Ana is keeping them alive. Julo now going to be running through the back line with that Primal Rage. Where's the payload? It's moved all the way through, though.
Charlie 9. It's a Charlie 9er, boys. It's left side on the kill feed. I think Fifth Dimension actually just ended up winning the fight. They get staggers, and most importantly, they're going to get this control on this sort of space shuttle area, and Chaos gets to sit on this ground that he loves with energy and look to grab the squishies for the side of Regen EU as they walk in. But most importantly, this composition is about map control, it's about spatial control, and now they have the prime position in this second point. They have the shuttle secured. That's an early grab.
Gravity comes on the top, but we do see a Nano Boosted Bob holding the front lines for that. It does mean Regen can't push out. Julo going to be in a dangerous position here. They have managed to push Regen into a corner. Hydro still maintaining this pressure on the payload, means it just carries on moving.
They just absolutely do. The steam train of Fifth Dimension keeps on rolling. Chaos is going to be the conductor of that runaway steam on wheels. He gets the Nano as well. This is so much damage. He almost forced to solo grab. This will play hard. It's a big one to over, so no rally, no bridge available.
And that's the thing, is you commit the Graviton for the single player, but there's still the rest of the team that you have to worry about. Chaos still sitting on 100 charge, eventually going to go down. Playhard still sticking around though, trying to get some shots on this Anna to stop the reinforcements, and I think that's going to be all they wrote for 5th Dimension for now.
It's an impressive hold. It's an expensive fight, but it's an impressive hold. And 2 minutes 45 left on the clock means that now with Graviton Surge coming up again for Chaos with this Primal as well, and the potential for them to go really deep, because that's a Pulse Bomb coming out somewhere. Doesn't manage to connect from Cure, but Playhard gets the pick from Hydra though. So again, this should just be kind of relaxation station for 5D's reduction stage and sort of really build up this nano for LP that should be coming online hopefully very soon.
And I like this aggression coming out from Wicked, just posturing at that doorway, telling them that they're safe. We won't chase you in there, but you are not allowed to step out this doorway until we're ready for you. And it gives Yelmo a chance to poke into the background. Hydra a little bit separated from the team, looking to maybe make a sneaky play on this payload. We're going to notice that it started moving now. Julo's making some space on the top, has gone in, and also going to have a Primal Rage to go toe-to-toe, fist to fist with the other monkey. Decides not to pop it though, and it's going to be all the way of Regen taking this fight.
Wicked gets 2 with the Primal Nano, so they commit 2-3 ultimates there, but they get the team kill for it. 1:44 left on the clock. Wicked woken up in this game. Really nice Primal Rage to find Killer, who's been all over the Killer feed. Really bad pun, apologies gamers, but nonetheless, it's an Ash time for Killer, who's going to be trying to go over and get this long-range pressure. This Dynamite could be very, very good at poking down and shredding the armor as well. Julo having to try his best to put jumpers against the Nano.
They actually just ignore the Winston on the top there. Julo can't afford to go out of their bubble. The rest of the team fell behind. Playhard literally looking over the shoulder of the Winston manages to keep getting this damage in.
Yeah, I've not mentioned it too much, but this counter engage, particularly from Caillou, has been borderline perfect. They are so patient. This defense here, Yelmo getting that energy, but more importantly making sure that those bubbles allow his Winston to play the game. Apple's got this very favourable sightline now, but look at Wicked, he's on one angle and Caillou is going to be in this room on the other, so they really do have the pincer with this Winston on his face. This is almost perfect, very standard Prophet and Gesture of what Threefold Dynasty. They've perfected this, and it's really nice to see teams at the lower level picking this up and really sort of perfecting it themselves.
And they try for the Pulse Bomb, they try for the Graviton Surge, and there's not very much coming out so far here. Regen going to be building up a Graviton Surge of their own now, managing to keep everyone still stuck in the side room. A Hydra sitting in the back lines, they cannot afford to step out and get caught by a Graviton. They seem to have punched their way out though. Wicked's going to go down, Playhard's gone down. Hydra finally making some work in the background, gives the space to 5th Dimension. They're going to extend that lead in fact, and it's now poor just Yelmo on the point, not able to use that Graviton. 5th Dimension push with a minute 38.
They will extend their lead, they will extend the clock, and they live to survive another day. And it looks like it's going to be split respawns here. Regen EU, and this means that they can keep pushing. Julo, he's got this on us, and he is not afraid. Probably just going to elect to take his high ground as well, as it's going to be contested, obviously, by this Winston. So, yeah, going to have to concede it for a second. But look at the wealth, the bank of ultimates for either side here. With most nanos available, grabbing the surges each is really early up to use that 3-4 in the grab.
Huge aggression coming out from Regen to push forward with the rally and now the nano boost. Graviton Surge also committed. There's still a lot alive for 5th Dimension. Maybe they're wanting to bait this out as much as possible. They pop their own Graviton Surge and rally, and they're now turning that pressure around. Chaos runs through with 45 HP. He's running towards their base as a point of safety. The rest of his team now going to follow through. Anyone who chased through Chaos is now dead. The stick comes through. Nice play from Kyo. And still their payload pushes.
And I think those pits onto Chaos and Sobek might have saved the fight. Actually, they really need that bridge and that barrier to be able to roll and clean it up. And Yomo going to be happy to go over the ball as again Chaos also electing to go onto the hamster to flip it, play hard, pitch onto the aforementioned little stuff. That means that it should just be an SG here for the side of 5th Dimension with 16 seconds left. This is going to be getting very close. This overtime stall is going to have to come from Julo. However, he's got the primal to keep himself very safe. Strap in, ladies and gentlemen. This could be a very long and intense fight.
Regen, they get the sleep out. That's going to make it difficult. We do still see Julo getting onto the point. Nearly gets controlled up, but does get the primal rage off, and so that's going to give some time. The stick from Hydro manages to punch through the apples in the backline. Payhard going to be trying for the ultimate. Still trades coming out. No big ultimate wins yet, but Hydro starting to tear apart the backline. You do see 5th Dimension pushing forwards. There is the attempt at the stall, and Apple's going to be the last one to try and touch. Doesn't manage to do it.
And they cap it in overtime. Thought it was going to be a bit more of a potential TCP after all, but the Tracer for the side of Hydro's had enough. Is one thing definitely going to mention is this Winston, this Tracer duo from Wicked and Caillou versus Julo and Hydro has been so interesting to watch. It is potentially a clash of two styles as well as Caillou. Wicked definitely favourable playing on the angles. They prefer to pincer. And definitely it seems that Julo and Hydro are sort of just going in together on this same target, on that same angle, looking to burst as efficiently as possible. Most likely, though, this is because of the defensive hold versus the offensive hold. When you're on that defensive hold, you can take the angles and you can pincer a lot cleaner. As the enemy team on the attack, they have to stage their supports. They need sight line for this Ana, and they have to walk into you. When they walk into you, this means that Caillou and Wicked can really just, again, play on those opposites and really collapse onto, most importantly, collapse onto the Ana of LP and find it basically every time.
And that's what we saw for both teams when they got stalled out in a tiny little doorway. We saw their first dimension when they struggled to get back onto the payload in the hangar, and then region when they struggled to push forward. Sorry, the other way around. We saw them getting trapped in a doorway and held in a single room, and that's what being able to get that's the timing you use to get into the good positions. And then once they poke their heads out, you jump on top of them, push them back, and then get out, and then reset and rinse and repeat.
Yeah, so absolutely right. It's just going to be a cyclical rinse and repeat on the spin wash there. Speaking of car wash, it's going to be a spin team for Kai to get his Ana over. And the Swedish meatball curse does not escape me once again. It's going to be a Torb for killer. I have no idea why this hero has popped up, but hey, it looks like they're going to be getting value over it. This turret's actually going to be a good job at poking out the Winston. If they can find Coke onto Wicked, it's just going to delay time that he can jump, and delay time means that it's going to be less charge for Yelmo, and it's going to be less charge for Apples on this house.
Stalls out again on this blue box. Ooh, that's a big aggressive push from Wicked, trying to get through there. Now Chaos charging through, has all of the charge and all of the kills that they need.
Chaos there, going to be getting 60 plus energy to end the fight, 60% ult charge. He is so charged up, and we've seen this before from him. Very, very standard on this barrier. Just love it on Watchpoint. Gibraltar played it when it wasn't even super meta, and now it is. It's just very, very standard practice. Look at him just right-clicking with his Graviton Surges. They just kind of brawled into that room, did regen EW, but that anti-nade from LP meant that it was essentially just W key and go. As now Chaos actually got himself a Graviton Surge. He's got a lightning fast from here.
Those little right clicks built up that ultimate for Chaos so fast, being able to lock down now everyone with that Graviton Surge and collapse on them. And it's just constant heads up play. You give the high charge, you get the lobs in. The longer these fights draw out, the happier Fifth Dimension's going to be.
Absolutely. 2 minutes 32 left on the clock, but there is a bit of a kickback potential for Regen EU. They have Nano, and they're going to be getting close to Graviton Surge and Primal, so this is a fight that Regen EU can really walk up confidently and expect to win. Those two tank ultimates and this and a Nano boost are so pivotal, so vital in this competition. They really allow them to sort of play to the full extent. It's going to be an aggressive engage here, but no, 2 down from Fifth Dimension.
Fifth Dimension get the picks, and Julo now also kept asleep for that fight, and that they can now get back a little bit. I don't know how much Region's going to want to push, especially now as they get chased outwards, and they're getting a little bit staggered now as they've lost this fight, but Tracer finally the last one back.
It is absolutely a race against time here for Regen EU, and they really need it. They did obviously hold on to those ultimates, but while they're holding on to those ultimates, Chaos 60% on a Graviton Surges now. Hydro has also been able to build a pulse. Julo again with that Primal. Rally comes in early from Sobek though, so really kind of locks down this blue box Hydro on half.
Incredible aggression comes out, and we do see Julo getting locked in that Graviton Surge. There was an attention to Pulse Bomb as well. Wicked now going to control the background, make sure that everyone's staggered out, and dives through it straight into that Hydro with the double kill with that Pulse Bomb as well. Fifth Dimension killing in every aspect.
Oh my, Hydro might have just saved this fight. I thought for sure that it was going to be the case, and it was going to be the victory almost for certain, particularly with the late Nano that could have come down from Apples, but the power of Tracer, ladies and gentlemen, it does so much work in this composition, and the Pulse Bomb doing an insane amount of damage up close. He went in there and I think he found the backline on the late flank, and it just ended the fight. No Ana means no Winston, and it was just curtains. Now 43 seconds left for an ultimate fight. Basically final fight if Fifth Dimension can play the Dryon ultimate off this Graviton Surge. He's looking for it.
We've got the nanoboost being committed, and into the server room the fight goes. Winston charged through there, managed to cut Tesla down both of the supports, and so if he can just get back with his team, we do see some kills coming the other way as Fifth Dimension picks up some counter. Julo going to be pushing aggressively with that Primal Rage, gives him, and again it's that double focus from him and the Tracer as they go through. Hydro now going to be looking to extend the fight, and Fifth Dimension still hold this.
From the jaws of defeat once again, and it's the same story as last time. It is Hydro, it is Killer, and it is Chaos. They lose so bad, and it'll be early to the Nano Winston as you'd expect. But Hydro doesn't care. He's got another pulse bomb, so let's see if he can end it once and for all. Time traveling British woman Joe Burr, I guess, and there we go. He gets the best target in the Winston.
And onto that anti-heal grenade, just pushes everyone back. There was no way Regen was getting through that choke point. There was just everything thrown desperately, wildly, chaotically. And Fifth Dimension walk out of there smiling and memeing.
Yeah, kind of. Let's see the stick from Hydro come down. I think we're going to get this on the broadcast. Hopefully we do. Look at the late flank Chaos full slow. Oh wow, okay Hydro. That's one for the Twitter clip, boy. Yeah, nice job. Really nice, clean 180 stick. Even got booped as well, got displaced somehow, but managed to flex it around and create a nice little highlight play for him. But overall, it was just such impressive play from Hydro, Chaos, and Julo. That map as Killer was all over the kill feed for Oasis, and now his other DPS looked through. So it's so much firepower that is available and being demonstrated for Fifth Dimension. We're going over to match point. This is 5th seed versus 4th seed. Let's remember, ladies and gentlemen, these are two no-slouch teams as well, and Apple's going to be locking in the King's Row. So let's see some more brawl. Final map, potentially, for Regen EU, and let's see them, if they do go down, which I kind of expect them to do, let's see them go down in a blaze of glory. Play the rush, run at them as hard as you can. Let's see Yelmo on the Zarya that I know he can play. Let's see Apples on the Ana that did well. At pass as well, landed some huge anti-nades as well, but it's, as I said, it's potentially curtains.
It comes down to the fact that Fifth Dimension is just running such coordination. You know, they've got the coordination between Hydra and Julo to go on the same target and cleave them down quickly. I've got to ask, you were doubting the Torbjorn, and yet it's come out and been so powerful. And again, here we see Fifth Dimension leveraging that. Of course, you know, Chaos has to get a big shout out as well as the supports, just because of the high energy Zarya plays and the pivotal Graviton surges. Great coordination of the team, and Torbjorn in there just kind of, once you've broken them into a chaotic spree, Torbjorn cleans up.
I guess, and the turret cleans up as well. The turret often lauded as the best hit scan in the lobby below 3k. Often the bane of my plat DPS games is that Torbjorn turret, killing my team from halfway across the map because it can aim and my teammates cannot. However, at this highest level of the game, shouldn't be getting quite as much value as it is. I think it's almost occupying the role of a nerfed McCree. McCree still got that 225 HP, got that flashbang, got that roll. This is something that I think when Kree has 225 HP, you should just play the Kree instead of the Torbjorn. However, they don't care. And Molten Core, not the most useful, not the most high-impact ultimate in the world, but it can provide a bit of zoning. If the Winston is, for example, nanoed onto your backline, you can use that hot fudge defensively to peel for your backline, as we've seen in the past. This turret provides, again, as I said, a bit of off-angle poke onto the Winston. It's really weird. I've not seen Torbjorn basically ever, but it's clever usage from these DPS. It's not something that I normally associate with DPS players is brains, but they're using them really well.
I'm a sportman. I'm staying out of this argument. I'm done. Yeah,
they're not really known for their IQ, the DPS players, but honestly, these guys are giving that take a run for their monies. It's really, really high IQ, really good macro understanding to know when to use the Molten Core, the turret position, and the etc. They're getting a pick out of something that's not very high value, not very seen a lot. But on the flip side, we're going to be going over to King's Row, and this is just going to be as standard as you like for both sides, I imagine.
Well, we do see Regen now dropping away. No ball coming through for either of these teams. Instead, coming out with your standard, your Reinhardt. You've got to be happy about that. Yelmo going to be going on to the Diva to try and reinforce that and offer some peel. Caillou going to be trying to control some of the space. Again, this space denial, very, very important with that May. You've got Play Hard on the McCree with great hit scan that we've been seeing so far, and going to be able to help as well reinforce anyone who walks through. And Apples on the Baptiste.
I do wonder, though, here, Caillou on this Mei, we've seen him pop off a lot on this Tracer, very, very high impact hero. Mei in this comp can often just sort of be like a melee level offhand. It's not the most sort of kill feed 1v9 kind of carry level. Very crucial, but not something that you really look at in the fact, particularly when that Blizzard ultimate is unavailable. If he gets chunked out here, but nice early rotation with Fifth Dimension.
And the Mei wall comes up, a great attempt from Fifth Dimension, but they may have overextended now. They're getting trapped on the wrong side of the Mei wall, and it's up to Regen to push forwards. The Reinhardt hammers are swinging, and they are starting to cleave through the damage. Wicked going to be the first one to fall, and the reinforcement from that immortality field keeps up. Chulo gets walled off, though, and so Regen has an opportunity to get back into this. Adnar going to be keeping his team alive, being able to get around that Mei wall and offer some damage from the side. The High Noon comes out, manages to take out Play Hard. Killer's going to carry on going through with the Lucio kill, and now going to be taking some pressure onto the incoming Wicked Reinhardt. Even the jump from LP24 being able to get the last kill. Fifth Dimension turning around what looked like a lost fight.
It is a Gunslinger Unleashed on the first point of King's Row. Outlaws well and truly alive all over the kill feed. Killer getting that High Noon so early, just going to be the difference maker in this fight, even before window, which is something I did not expect to see. However, mirror windows from both sides, so it means that if they want to, they can play super high tempo. Both teams play hard, okay, again, it's just a story of the retreat ultimately.
Your tempo that you talk about, you play at a high tempo, and once they realized they had pinned Fifth Dimension in that corner and that the shield was going down, they had the High Noon, and so they just rushed them. Lucio's speed boost came out and they pushed them into the corner. Great play, and Fifth Dimension can take that as a loss, but still doing pretty well.
It's going to be a loss, it's going to be sort of a lost battle, but I think the war could well and truly be won, as Hydro is going to be very ahead in this Mei ultimate. This is such an impactful, important ultimate. Being able to go with this Mei ult early is going to be so important. My rule with Mei ult is either first ultimate on the field or the last ultimate on the field. Hydro right now, it looks like he's ready to go prime and early.
Oh, we see there the attempt. Julo going to be coming out now to the Shatter. Has to fight through the wall. Julo going to go down before he can get it off. And now is the Mei ult very late into the fight, as you say. And it has done wonders. Great play from Caillou to be able to push back Fifth Dimension. And now Fifth Dimension just don't want to get picked. The Mei is looking dangerous with that.
Yelmo gets the late stagger onto Sobek, and I wonder if perhaps it's a little greedy. Yes, there's 4 minutes left on the clock. However, I think that Mei ultimate was just so free. They knew that B wasn't available, it was close to being available. They could have just traded and then gone with the window afterwards, so potentially a little bit too high value for OP. Sort of trying to go to the full Mei value parry. There we go now, but down from Hydro.
It was the first ultimate, 2 others coming out on top of that. So far, Fifth Dimension going to be quite happy. It's going to be up to who gets the better Earth Shatter. Now Julo goes for it, manages to get into the wall, and does manage to at least open up the opportunities for the rest of the team. They're going to cleave forwards, and the rest of Fifth Dimension is going to be able to clean up this team fight.
It was a splash of colour across the pages. I blinked for half a second, and 3 or 4 went all the way down. It wasn't quite the Shatter able to come through and blocked there. As we see now, they've got this forward hold here for this potential to roll it into second. 3 minutes 15 left on the clock, and Killer on this Hydro offhand could potentially be a hit. If he gets the Mei or the Tree, it could be cursed.
It's up to Fifth Dimension to see how many ults they're going to use, when they're going to use them, because they don't want to invest too much. They've pretty much got this. They've got the Earth Shatter. That might be all that they need. Charging into the corner now. Julo can be able to come out, and the rest of Regen collapsed upon. Play Hard coming out with some big plays, though, to be able to try and turn this around. Hydro are going to be such a presence to anyone left alive. Has the time to pick them off one by one, and no one can be able to recontest. Regen looked like they had a little bit of life left, and then Play Hard eventually going to go down. But Fifth Dimension get the point.
Fifth Dimension, indeed, they got the point. Those 2 picks from Play Hard stopped that inevitable snowball that came through. It just sort of forced Fifth Dimension to ease off the gas just a little bit. However, once again, I think tempo is still very in the hands of the attacking side here. They have Beat and they have Blizzard. How you does have Blizzard first, but it's going to be a speed High Noon engage. Hopefully going to get Play Hard around this wall, and nope, Blizzard comes down.
And that was a great heads-up play. The Mei now controlling the pressure completely. It's up to Killer to now get the High Noon. You see the Lucio jump behind there. Not going to be able to get back to the team, though, as they've got the Mei wall up, and it separates off the rest of Regen. Now it's Fifth Dimension again running forwards. They've got all the positional play that they want. They're charging for, very aggressive, putting pressure on the Diva. This Reinhardt's caught out of position, going to go down very quickly, eliminated. Wicked going to be out of this one. They've tried for the Doomfist to try to get this pick potential, but the Blizzard comes through on the point. Doomfist going to get locked up. Earth Shatter comes through as well. Fifth Dimension doing all the work and going to push it now.
That is a lightning fast time from Fifth Dimension.
Oof.
3 minutes 11 on the clock, and this was. It may not have looked like it, but because of the way of the ultimate, because of how heavy they invested, that was, I think, a fight that they absolutely had to win. They committed so many bomb, beat, window, and high noon, all coming down at essentially within 10 seconds of each other, layering those ultimates a bit too close to each other. As I talked about ultimates sometimes in Overwatch, the game of poker. You know when to fold, you know when your hand is weak, you know when your hand is strong. And there, they kind of went all in. They knew they had the royal flush, Fifth Dimension, and they absolutely bet in on it. They put all the chips into the middle of the table, and they said 3 minutes 11 left on the clock. This is a fight that we want to win. We are winning this here and now. We know we have the shatter and the beat for the recontest. Give us the payload. We are going to be setting a lightning fast time, and that is exactly what they did.
And they did it in such a nice staggered, patient way as well. They didn't just try and throw 6 ultimates and win the fight within 3 seconds. They layered them so beautifully. They started with the Blizzard. Once they got the pick out, they could get up the wall to get down the Lucio, and then they knew they had the 4v6 advantage and put enough ultimates down to kill 2 people now, let another one come in, then kill 3 people on the next wave, then keep an extra one on top there for when the Doomfist comes in. Every single card that Regen had to throw at them on that defense was countered out by Fifth Dimension, and very quickly, very successively. And now it's up to them to try and hold this out, and I think that they've got a good chance of even holding it before the 3rd point.
Potentially, this May wall, this first choke is going to be really, really difficult. Let's see what rotation Regen EU opt to go for. Going to be taking probably a long one around this right-hand side. That's an early wall, though. Hydro finds himself in the statue with an early code on his lamp for now. Traded out. This is going to be a respite here with all the cooldowns are down to both sides.
And the wall, though, from Regen meant that the rest of Fifth Dimension could walk around it. Now they're going to use the second wall to keep themselves alive. Killer still on the point. Going to be looking for Baptiste. Oh, the fire strike. Beautifully read there by the Reinhardt to be able to pick him up in the air. Fifth Dimension going to collapse back, and it all came down to them being able to avoid that first wall and put that counter pressure in. They may be too deep, though.
I think they might be Julo setting apples ablaze with that threading of the needle, perfectly whipped it through the corpse of the Haitian medic. But unfortunately, though, Kayu's going to be here with point control, and he's 94% on a Blizzard. And if they wanted, they could just go with that Eternal Freeze from the depths of 7 layers of hell all the way here. It looks like no okay killer gets the
Forced out the Immortality Field. That's going to be a big counter to the Blizzard. They've got the opportunity. They've seen the defense matrix has gone down, but they just wanted to commit the wall instead. Don't even need the Blizzard. That can be used for the recontest. But Regen find the chink.
They do, and I wonder if perhaps Fifth Dimension was scared of that Blizzard and that's why they backed off, or they hyper-rushed. And they sort of split. Half of them looked to disengage, and the Reinhardt and Chaos, Julo and Chaos just went into them, and they kind of got punished for it. But this early hold of the choker is going to be very, very favourable from its defensive side. The 4-5 of Fifth Dimension really struggled to get past it on their own attack here, but they do have this high noon window to be able to break through any aggressive WP that comes down from Regen EU.
The window thrown through straight away, and it is going to be enough to just posture back Regen. They don't need to fight into this. They can wait it out for a couple of seconds, hiding very well around the corner. Now is their opportunity to push forward. Of course, Killer has the high noon. It's going to be high noon versus high noon. The wall comes up between the 2 McCrees. They're still holding it for a long amount of time. Caillou now going to be dropping the Blizzard. It's going to be able to get back into the ice block. Beautifully countered out by the Beat. That's going to keep so many people alive. Bomb comes through to the back line. Beautifully May walled off. There's been ultimates traded and counted left, right, and center in this matchup as Regen finally come out the victors, cleaving through there after that clash.
Yeah, absolutely. Great play there from, in particular, Caillou. So good on the Mayo. He managed to find the 3-man freeze and more importantly got the May. Then to have the awareness to 180 and quick May wall the bomb as well, but came out from Chaos to try to stagger the fight now. But it was an expensive one and a big investment from Regen EU here. 3 minutes 43 left, but they had to. They really have to go all in. They have to keep winning because of this electric, this ginormous time ban that was set by Fifth Dimension.
You almost need a Hail Mary play coming out from Guillermo to get a big bomb. And they're going to have to do something soon. The wall comes out there. Immortality Field is there to keep them alive for a little bit longer, but Wicked going to fall at the beginning of this fight, and now they're going to be at a big disadvantage. Regen pushed back so far. Julo still pushing forward with his Diva. The two of them showing hyper-aggression, never wanting to give up, and chase them all the way back to their spawn.
It's the May on the streets, ladies and gentlemen. It's just the most perfect choke for that May wall. It's exactly the size of that little point there around that corner past the bar and the chip shop, and it's so perfect It's just wicked. Overstepped for half a second. May will bind him into dead. Cannot match that. The reaction time, the ability to 2-pop over, it's just too quick. But look where both DPS are. Other side of region. Sorry, Mr. Dimension. They're on an off angle with Blizzard and Hanu. Okay, Ilka is there as well.
Again, it's coming down to cooldown management. We see the High Noon coming from the top. Does manage to take out Adnar. Jula on the bottom. Going to be able to take out the May, and so a big advantage now for Fifth Dimension. And again, we instantly see the pressure coming out from the game region, having to run for the hills. It's constant push back, constant backpedal here for the blue side, and they've managed to chew a little bit of a time bank off.
They have 2 minutes 21 left on the clock though. Really nice play from the DPS for Fifth Dimension though. This comp has been basically borderline figured out, but they innovated there. Having that High Noon, they either have to walk into it right heart, or they have to step back and Killer finds again another first pick onto Adnar. So that's no disengage available. They have to stay in here ultimately.
Chulo now going to get frozen up. The beat comes back from Sobek. Going to be able to turn this around. Now the High Noon gets taken out. Caillou going to be the last one to fall. Fifth Dimension pushing forward yet again. Just being able to manage their cooldowns and come through to stay alive. Sobek always on point with these beats.
And there we go. And Sobek has been so solid with it, absolutely. Finding that pick onto Adnar though right at the start of the fight from Killer was so brutal. This comp is definitely about trading cooldowns, and in order to trade these cooldowns and actually win once you're forced, you need to disengage. But without that Lucio speed boost, you cannot disengage, and that is why they had to go in. They committed Window, Blizzard, and High Noon to the side of Regen EU because they knew they had to win it. Once that Lucio gone down, they were stuck between a rock and a hard place, and they kind of just got smashed. Ult advantage somehow still in the favour of Fifth Dimension. This is theirs to lose with 1 minute 15 left on the clock.
A little bit of innovative passing coming out here from Regen. We do see wicked action, maybe looking for a shatter here on the low ground. They've taken a long way to get back to the point. They've still been caught out by the Maywall. They've got a Maywall of their own and an immortality field to stay up a little bit. The High Noon comes out, followed by the beat straight away. Killer not going to be able to find anything. Now there's a Diva Bomb shoved into the face of Regen. Still Fifth Dimension going back, and now they've got to get around this Maywall. Julo in the front lines, killing everyone. The self-destruct goes through. It is going to find both of the squishies in the back line. And Fifth Dimension even still come through, dropping 4 ultimates in that fight.
They do, and it's an expensive fight for both sides. With 34 seconds left, it's going to be a borderline neutral fight as we get into what is potentially the final fight of this series, ladies and gentlemen. And this forward hold here for Fifth Dimension is going to be so good. Again, it's all about this Maywall that can come down from Hydro. If he manages to wall wicked, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be sealed over. The Juno on the flip side gets shot off. On the wall.
That was it. They had to protect themselves against Chulo because that shatter coming through instantly wins the fight. We do see a little bit of contest coming out from Regen, but that should be all they rose. They are just trying to now stall it out, get themselves to overtime. Yelmo going to get DMX'd and shut down very quickly. Fifth Dimension, hold in the streets phase.
Oh, and it's cyberbullying. They get the shatter, the 3-man shatter, and then they get right back up. That Mail has to be committed, and it's guzzled into the defense matrix of Chaos. He gets another one. I've made a line or two in the past about global warming and males. We'll not repeat that one on stream today as Chaos here. Look on the front, I believe he's going to get the mail any second there. With another fight, that's the one where he gets the 2k, just to stagger it out. That was such a brutal forward defensive hold for Fifth Dimension, as I believe that is going to be the 3-0 for Fifth Dimension. They looked so dominant.
Amazing what, when you look at the seedings, they were 4th and 5th.
Yeah.
You don't picture a 1 seeding difference making that much difference when it comes to execution, because that's what I would classify this as Fifth Dimension. There was great fights coming out from Regen. You've got to give credit to them. They were able to get some ult combos off. They were able to recontest points and hold in nice positions. They understood their positions well, but Fifth Dimension, when they went on that aggression, when they got a positional advantage, or they smelled a little bit of blood in the water, they were on you in a second and threw everything that they needed to. Not everything that they had, but everything that they needed to, over and over and over. And I'm impressed that these teams were able to manage their cooldowns as effectively as they did.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the heat of the moment, it can be really difficult to play a clean sort of game of poker, of Overwatch chess, managing those cooldowns. But absolutely, Fifth Dimension, those engaged timings, that patience, but most importantly, that sense of urgency. This is something that you see from all the best teams in the world that play Rush. Everyone knows at the higher level, you just go. And once you understand when to go, you go and you do not hesitate. And Fifth Dimension, they did not wait for half a second. On the flip side, though, I want to shout out some names from Regen EU. Caillou had some very, very good moments, particularly on the Tracer. His Mayups were good as well. Got one dozen up at the end, but one that basically won his team the fight by himself. There was no way they were getting it anywhere near second point if it wasn't for his May Ultimates play hard. Some very nice McCree play as well. Yamo and Apples as well, keeping everyone together. Wicked, I think, honestly had a rough time today. Reinhardt in Brawl, when you're getting battered, is very, very, it's very difficult to look good when your team is getting beaten on Reinhardt in that manner, but he showed some solidness on the Winston as well. Everyone, to be honest, from Regen, they've gotten this far in the tournament for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. So whether this team opts to stick together or disband, there's some bright names to look out for next OD or even in the future. I expect these players to come back stronger and better, and they'll learn from this. It's one for the VOD for sure.
I mean, there is still the losers bracket, so these guys have an opportunity. I think they're going to be a very, very strong team in that lower bracket. And if any team has an opportunity to still fight through, these are the guys who can do it. They got maybe controlled up in terms of their spacing. I don't think they had any big ult usage management problems or anything like that. No. Mechanical skill, Fifth Dimension had really, really nicely, being able to hit some important shots, but I don't think that was a clinical difference. I think it just came down to how well they were executed upon and the coordination from Fifth Dimension. So Fifth Dimension going to be very happy to go through to the next round. Regen, excited to see if they can still stick alive in this competition in that low bracket. Otherwise, just because I'd like to see their Overwatch again. It was really clean to see and really fun to see. I think that is us, though. Do you have a player of the match that I've got to ask?
It's going to be interesting. We didn't do it for the first game, but for this one, I'm going to have to give it to... this is so difficult. There's so many names. It has to go to someone from Fifth Dimension for the dominant 3-0. Do I be biased and give it to Chaos again? Yeah, screw it. Why not? Chaos, my player of the match. I think he was all over the kill feed. Was so charged up on Gibraltar and was just all over the kill feed. All over the activity. When D.Va in Brawl, ladies and gentlemen, is a very, very difficult hero to play. You have so many things. You have to peel for your backline. You have to off-angle. You have to control the high ground. You have to DM your Reinhardt. You have to go and push off high grounds with your Lucio. There is a full thesis, 95 thesis level Martin Luther of things that you have to do on D.Va in this composition. I've played it myself. I've studied it myself. It's so, so difficult. And to be honest, Chaos made it look kind of easy. So I'm a little jealous. But yeah, Chaos my player of the match.
100%. You know, that was just clinical play from the team and definitely strong leadership from that off-tank position to be able to dictate where the players are. Guys, that's going to be us for the day. It's been a pleasure casting for you guys. Jace, I'm sure you've had a great time.
Yeah, I've had a blast as we see Kitty on the cam. Pogu. Cat, white people happy. Yeah, feel free. I believe our socials are linked below on the player cams. Big shout out to Ultrism. It's the first time I think absolutely smashed it. Samta on the prodders are very solid all throughout. This was a lot of fun, as always. Some really high-level Overwatch. Absolutely love to see it. Interesting to see how this develops as we go out through the lower bracket. But that's going to be it from me. I'll pass it on to my play-by-play caster for final words. I'll be around the scene, guys. Take care, and I love you all. Bye-bye.
It's been a great day of Overwatch, guys. I hope to get to see you guys again soon. Don't go anywhere. There's still lots of Overwatch action, of course, here on Monkey Bubbles Reflash. We've got another game coming here. Of course, there's also the Stream A, which is going to cast most of the action for the rest of today. So make sure and go jump across there. They might still even be playing a bit now. Yes. Otherwise, it's been great here on Stream B, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks very much for joining.